Welcome to Stories with Pablo. Step into a world of timeless tales and captivating folklore from every corner of the globe. At Pablo Stories, we share enchanting stories filled with wisdom, adventure, and mystery. From ancient legends and mythical creatures to inspiring moral tales, our channel is your gateway to the magic of storytelling. If you've watched this far, subscribe now to experience the wonder of words, the richness of culture, and the timeless lessons that connect us all. Comment your expectations, opinion, or interests. Join the Pablo family and help keep these stories alive, one tale at a time. Now let's continue. Sparkle's new stories every day. Bell hit the notification bell so you never miss an adventure. Your journey into the world of stories starts here. The morning sun filtered softly through the stained glass windows of Maplewood Elementary, casting kaleidoscopic patterns across the bustling hallways. The aroma of freshly cut grass mingled with the distant chorus of children's laughter as the school day began in earnest. Among the throng of eager students was Emma Thompson, a kind-hearted and inquisitive 10-year-old with chestnut curls that framed her bright, earnest face. Her large, amber eyes held an innocence tempered by a thoughtful soul. Today, like every day, she carried her lunchbox, always carefully packed by her grandmother, with sandwiches, crisp apple slices, and a small thermos of warm cocoa. Emma's world was one of simple pleasures and quiet routines. Her family lived modestly in a small but cozy home on the edge of town. Though money was tight, love and care filled every corner. Her parents worked long hours. Her grandmother, a gentle woman with silver hair and a patient smile, watched over her with unwavering devotion. As the morning bell rang, Emma headed toward the schoolyard to eat during recess. The playground hummed with activity. Children clustered in games of tag, soccer, and whispered secrets. Emma found a usual spot beneath an ancient oak tree, its wide branches providing cool shade and a comforting sense of shelter. She unwrapped her sandwich slowly, savoring the moment, when her attention was drawn to a frail figure sitting nearby on a weathered bench. An old man, with a wiry beard graying like frost and eyes like deep pools of untold stories, seemed lost in thought. His clothes were threadbare, patched in places, and his hands trembled slightly as they rested on his knees. Emma's heart tugged at her. She had seen him before, wandering the streets at the park's edge, often sitting alone, watching the world pass by. She never knew his name, nor had she spoken to him, but something in his quiet dignity touched a chord within her. Without hesitation, Emma slid her lunchbox across to him. "So," she said gently, "would you like some lunch? I have extra." The old man's eyes lifted, meeting hers with a flicker of surprise and something deeper, perhaps gratitude, maybe disbelief. He hesitated, but then nodded slowly, a faint smile breaking through the lines of weariness. "Thank you, young lady," he replied, his voice soft but steady, carrying the echoes of a lifetime. Emma watched as he carefully unwrapped the sandwich and took a bite. For a moment, the noises of the playground faded. All that remained was a quiet bond forged in a simple act of kindness. Little did Emma know, this humble old man was Jonathan Carlisle, a billionaire who had once ruled over a vast empire of business and wealth. Hidden beneath his worn clothes and solitude was a man who understood the fragility of life and profound power of compassion. And on this ordinary day, their paths were about to intertwine in a way that neither could have imagined. The following days at Maplewood Elementary carried on with that familiar blend of childhood excitement and earnest learning. But within Emma Thompson, a quiet transformation had begun. Her simple act of kindness toward the lonely old man had planted a seed of curiosity and connection that she couldn't shake. Though the bell rang and classrooms buzzed with lessons, thoughts of the man, whom she had overheard others call Mr. Carlisle, lingered in her mind. Who was he really? Why did he sit so quietly by the park's edge, apart from others? Emma's innocent questions echoed softly in the spaces between her studies and play. Meanwhile, Jonathan Carlisle carefully navigated the sharp contrast of his two worlds. Once the titan of industry, his rise to billionaire status had been marked by genius and relentless ambition. Yet now, stripped of the blinding glare of wealth and titles, he dwelled in a world unseen, one of fading memories and rediscovery. After accepting Emma's lunch, Jonathan felt a stir within himself, a warmth unfamiliar and transformative. He saw in the girl's eyes a reflection of something long lost, innocence untainted by cynicism, and a spirit ready to give without expectation. That afternoon, as twilight crept gently over the city and the park's benches grew shadowed, Jonathan returned to the spot where he'd first met Emma. He found her still seated beneath the ancient oak, her nose buried in a well-loved book. For a moment, he watched silently, the simple grace of youth untouched by the complexities of his own life. Summoning courage, Jonathan spoke softly. "You have a generous heart, Emma. May I know more about you?" Emma looked up, startled but pleased. "I like reading and drawing, and helping others. My granny taught me that kindness is the greatest gift." Jonathan smiled, genuine and touched. Wise words from a wise woman. As their conversations blossomed over days, shared stories, small laughs, and moments of unexpected companionship, Emma discovered that Jonathan's world was vast and mysterious, layered beneath the humble exterior he wore like a second skin. She knew nothing of corporate boardrooms or sprawling mansions, only that here was a man who, despite appearances, held a universe of experience and yet sought solace in simple connection. At school, Emma's friends noticed a gentle change, her eyes brighter, her steps lighter, as if the invisible threads of destiny were weaving a new tapestry before her. And in the quiet reflection of his modest shelter, Jonathan felt the stirring of hope that perhaps, through this kind little girl's gift, he might find renewal not just in spirit but in the ties that truly bind us all. The gentle rhythm of autumn leaves swirled around the modest Thompson household, where the warmth of a small kitchen was filled with the scent of freshly baked bread and the faint hum of a radio playing a soft classical tune. Emma sat at the worn oak table, her sketchbook open before her, pencils scattered like stars across the surface. Her grandmother, with silver-streaked hair pulled back into a tidy bun, hummed as she prepared the evening meal, a comforting ritual that wove together generations. "Emma, dear," her grandmother's voice was soft but firm, "you've been quiet these days. What fills your mind so?" Emma hesitated, then shared her encounters with the old man in the park. "He's different, Granny, not like the others who ignore him. He's kind, and so sad somehow." Her grandmother nodded slowly, eyes distant with memories. "Sometimes the world hides its storms beneath still waters. It takes a rare heart to see beyond the surface." Meanwhile, Jonathan Carlisle faced the weight of his own hidden past. Though the world knew him as a shrewd billionaire, his recent choice to retreat from the public eye stemmed from wounds deeper than any headline could reveal. Loss, regret, and the exhausting pretense that had long accompanied his wealth pressed upon him like a shadow. His shelter, nestled in forgotten corners of the city, was humble yet meticulously cared for, a sanctuary away from the unrelenting glare of reporters, business rivals, and old acquaintances. In this quiet refuge, he read Emma's drawings and letters, simple sketches of trees, of kindness, of hope, and was both comforted and inspired. One afternoon, he confided in Emma as they shared a picnic among the golden leaves of the park. "Emma, why do you give to someone like me? What do you see that others do not?" Emma looked into his eyes, steady and sincere. "I see you, not the clothes or the place you sit, but the person. Everyone deserves kindness." Jonathan's rare, genuine smile softened the lines etched by time and hardship. "You have a gift, young one. Never lose it." As their bond grew, so too did the complexity of their worlds. Emma's parents struggled with challenges of their own, her mother balancing multiple jobs, her father quietly battling illness. Their modest home was a sanctuary of love but shadowed by hardships. At school, Emma's classmates began to notice her absent-minded moments, her eyes distant as if carrying secrets too large for her small shoulders. Yet she found strength in her friendship with Jonathan, whose presence was a steadfast harbor amid uncertain tides. Unbeknownst to Emma, word of her compassion had begun to reach influential A's. Jonathan's past allies, suspicious of his sudden disappearance, started probing into the mysterious figure befriending the humble schoolgirl. Tensions thinly veiled as curiosity masked a potential storm of public scrutiny. As autumn deepened, the intertwined lives of Emma and Jonathan stood on the cusp of revelation, a delicate dance between innocence and power, kindness and secrets. The crisp air of early winter brought a quiet hush to the streets of Maplewood, the bare branches of trees etching delicate patterns against the slate sky. Inside the small classroom at Maplewood Elementary, a buzz of excited whispers filled the room. News was spreading fast, as it often did in places where every face was familiar. Emma sat at her desk, her hands folded neatly, but her thoughts raced like the swirling snowflakes outside. Something was different today. The old man she had come to know as Jonathan Carlisle was no longer just a quiet figure in the park. Whispers echoed of his true identity, a billionaire who had vanished from the public eye under mysterious circumstances. Her classmates glanced her way, eyes wide with a mixture of curiosity and disbelief. Even her closest friends struggled to reconcile the image of the gentle man she described with the powerful titan the news portrayed. Mrs. Harper, the kindly teacher with silver-rimmed glasses and a voice that had soothed generations, cleared her throat gently. "Class, I know you've heard many stories today, but remember, every person has a story far deeper than what you first see." Emma's heart pounded. After school, she hurried to the park, hoping to find Jonathan waiting beneath the old oak tree. The man she found was different, no longer cloaked solely in solitude, but with a quiet dignity that seemed to embrace the weight of his name. "I'm sorry if the news scared you, Emma," Jonathan said softly, watching as she neared. But the truth was never meant to hide. Emma took a deep breath. "It doesn't scare me. I'm proud of who you are, the man who needed a sandwich and a friend." Jonathan's eyes glistened with gratitude. "And I am honored to have met someone who sees me beyond titles and fortune." Their conversation was interrupted by voices, journalists who had begun to gather, drawn by the unfolding story. What was once private was now thrust into the spotlight. Facing the sudden glare of cameras and questions, Emma stood beside Jonathan, her small hand finding his. In that moment, the world seemed both vast and intimate, a swirling dance of innocence and experience. At home, Emma's grandmother embraced her tightly. "You have a brave heart, child. But remember, truth shines brightest when held with kindness." Over the coming days, Jonathan began the delicate process of rebuilding, mending fractured relationships, renewing his commitment to causes long dead, and most importantly, drawing strength from the unexpected friendship that had awakened hope within him. Emma, too, learned the power of her own kindness, the quiet courage that had kindled a journey neither could have foreseen. Together, they stepped into the uncertain future, a testament that in a world often divided by wealth and circumstance, humanity and connection remain the greatest treasures of all. The news of Jonathan Carlisle's return to the public eye spread like wildfire, engulfing not only the local community, but reaching far beyond the borders of Maplewood. Headlines celebrated the billionaire's disappearance, a miraculous reunion with a little girl whose kindness had pierced through his solitude. Meanwhile, media outlets clamored for exclusive stories, casting a spotlight that neither Emma nor Jonathan had sought. Back at Maplewood Elementary, the schoolyard buzzed with newfound attention. Emma felt the eyes of her peers, a mixture of admiration and skepticism. Some whispered of jealousy, others of awe. Teachers tried to shield her from the harsher murmurs, but the complexity of childhood social dynamics was an unyielding tide. One afternoon, as Emma sat beneath a familiar oak tree, a group of students approached, their faces a blend of curiosity and caution. "Hey, Emma," called Marcus, the class troublemaker turned reluctant admirer. "So, the big shot's your friend now, huh? Must be nice." Emma met his gaze calmly. Jonathan isn't just a big shot. He's kind and human, like you and me. Marcus shrugged, but there was a flicker of respect beneath the bravado. Guess. Jonathan, meanwhile, faced a different battlefield. The corporate world buzzed with speculation. Would he resume leadership of his empire or retreat forever into the past? Board meetings were tense, allies cautious, competitors eager. Yet Jonathan's mind was increasingly drawn away from power plays to the transformative power of personal connection. He sought guidance from old friends and new allies alike, including Eloise, the distant cousin who had quietly supported Vanessa Langston in another corner of the world, a reminder that change often begins with quiet solidarity. One evening, after a long day that balanced press interviews and strategic planning, Jonathan found himself reflecting on his life's meaning beyond wealth and status. Emma's words echoed in his mind. Everyone deserves kindness. They had become a guiding light amid the storm. In the midst of these trials, a gala was announced, a fundraiser to support local community programs, co-hosted by Jonathan's foundation and the school board. It was an opportunity to highlight the power of compassion and bridge social divides. Emma, nervous but determined, was invited to speak. She rehearsed endlessly, her grandmother's gentle encouragement fortifying her spirit. On the night of the gala, beneath glittering chandeliers, Emma took the stage with Jonathan beside her. Her voice, clear and confident, carried a message greater than any wealth. We all have the power to make a difference, no matter our age or place, she said, looking into the crowd, hearts touched by her sincerity. Jonathan, his hand resting lightly on Hayes, whispered, "You've changed my world, Emma." Together, they illuminated the path forward, a testament that true wealth lies in empathy, courage, and the simple acts that tie humanity together. Winter's breath had fully settled over Maplewood. Snowflakes drifted softly from gray skies, coating the familiar streets and park in a blanket of hushed white. The thrum of excitement following Jonathan Carlisle's return had mellowed into a steady rhythm of adaptation, and now, beneath the serene facade, trial stirred. For Emma, the unexpected spotlight was a double-edged sword. The warmth of newfound friendship and admiration mingled uneasily with waves of scrutiny and whispers of envy. At school, familiar faces sometimes gave way to guarded ones, and loneliness surfaced amid crowds. One crisp morning, as she walked to school with her grandmother, Emma felt a tap on her shoulder. Turning, she found Marcus waiting, his expression unusually serious. "Hey, I was thinking. Maybe I was rude. Want to hang out after school? I want to know more about your friend, that billionaire," he said, voice hesitant. Emma's heart lifted despite the uncertainty. "I'd like that." Meanwhile, Jonathan faced his own crucible. The weight of public expectation pressed on him relentlessly, and the boardroom battles had sharpened with veiled threats and unspoken tests of loyalty. Yet it was a quiet moment away from cameras, sharing walks in the park, exchanging stories over hot cocoa in Emma's small kitchen, that fortified his spirit. With every laughter and shared secret, barriers fell away to reveal a man striving not just for redemption, but reinvention. One evening, Eloise joined Jonathan at his modest shelter, her sharp mind and unwavering support a balm to his weary soul. "You're stronger than they think," she said, eyes shining with conviction. "But strength isn't just power. It's vulnerability, too." Jonathan nodded. "Emma has taught me that. To be seen, truly seen, is both a risk and a gift." The community gala loomed, a beacon amid winter's chill and a decisive moment for both their journeys. Preparations were underway, but beneath the surface, tensions unraveled. Forces uncomfortable with change whispered in shadowed corners, seeking to undermine the fragile new order. Emma's grandmother cautioned gently, "Kindness is powerful, but love must be guarded." Days before the gala, a threatening letter arrived at Jonathan's shelter, anonymous, insistent. Its cold words challenged everything he had reclaimed. Yet as he showed the letter to Emma, her steady gaze met his. "We are not alone," she said softly. "We have each other." The gala night dawned, crisp and clear. As the grand hall filled with luminaries and neighbors, Emma took the stage once more, not just a girl with a story, but a symbol of hope. Her voice rang out with certainty. No matter where we come from or what challenges we face, kindness can be our strongest armor. Jonathan stood beside her, pride and determination evident in every glance. Together, they faced the trials of hardened society, a testament that even in the coldest winters, warmth can be found in the bonds we choose in nature. The gala had been a luminous beacon in the winter's gloom, a night when hearts and hopes intertwined beneath glittering chandeliers. Yet, as the fragile light of new beginnings danced across the faces of Emma Thompson and Jonathan Carlisle, the shadows of doubt and opposition whispered ever closer. The morning after the gala, the atmosphere in Maplewood was thick with talk. The event's success had drawn attention across the city, prompting renewed invitations, donations, and an unprecedented sense of community pride. But with every beam cast upon kindness, there flickered undertones of resistance. At school, Emma noticed a subtle shift in her classmates. Some approached her with tentative smiles, drawn by the courage she showed. Others held back, cloaked in whispered rumors or quiet envy. The weight of newfound fame tugged at her young shoulders, yet she faced it with remarkable grace. Meanwhile, Jonathan found himself ensnared in complex webs beyond public acclaim. Old collaborators reached out, some with hands extended in genuine support, others with agendas veiled thinly beneath smiles. He was reminded that power, like kindness, could be wielded both to build and to wound. One afternoon, as Jonathan met quietly with Eloise in a sunlit cafe, they discussed the tangled forces at play. "The more we grow, the more opposition we face," Eloise said, stirring her tea thoughtfully. "Change threatens those comfortable in the old order." Jonathan nodded, weariness etched on his face. "I've lived surrounded by ambition and betrayal. But this time, the stakes feel different. This time, it's about more than business." Back in Maplewood, Emma's world expanded beyond the schoolyard. She was invited to share her story at community centers and local events. Her innocence and sincere belief in kindness captivated hearts, becoming a symbol of hope for many. Yet, one evening, as she returned home, she found a small package at the doorstep, a book with a note inside, unsigned. True strength is tested when we face the hardest truths. Emma's heart fluttered with uncertainty. She shared the discovery with her grandmother, who offered a steadying hand and wisdom. Every journey has its trials, dear. But remember, courage is not the absence of fear. It is facing it with an open heart. As winter deepened, Jonathan and Emma's bond became an anchor amid the swirling tides. They confronted threats together, their trust and respect growing into profound partnership bridging generations and worlds. The city, once segmented by walls of wealth and poverty, began to glimpse a future shaped by shared dreams and mutual compassion. But the final test loomed, a challenge that would require every ounce of resilience, honesty, and kindness they possessed. The first light of spring broke tenderly over Maplewood, casting a soft glow that seemed to wash away the last traces of winter's chill. The gentle hum of awakening life filled the air, birdsong, the rustling of budding leaves, and the distant laughter of children blessing the new day. For Emma Thompson and Jonathan Carlisle, the season symbolized hope reborn, a promise fulfilled through trials and unwavering spirit. In a spacious community hall transformed by flowers and sunlight, friends and neighbors gathered for an event unlike any before, a celebration of unity, courage, and the boundless power of kindness. The walls, once echoing with silence and secret fears, now rang with joyous voices and heartfelt stories. Emma, standing tall and radiant despite the tender age that belied her wisdom, faced the crowd with a steady heart. By her side stood Jonathan, no longer the solitary figure in faded clothes, but a man restored not just in fortune but in faith. "My friends," Emma's voice rang clear. We are proof that kindness is a foundation upon which we build bridges, between people, between worlds. Jonathan's gaze swept the room, eyes moist with emotion. I was lost in shadows of my own making, but through a simple act of generosity, I found a path back, a path lit by the purest light, compassion. The hall erupted into applause, not for wealth regained or status elevated, but for the human connection that transcended all barriers. As the celebration unfolded, Jonathan announced initiatives designed to support those on society's margins, programs that Emma had helped envision, rooted in the belief that everyone deserves dignity and opportunity. Emma's grandmother watched with tears shining, proud beyond words. You have changed not just a life, but a legacy. Outside, beneath the blooming branches of the beloved oak tree where their journey had first intertwined, Emma and Jonathan shared a quiet moment. "Thank you," Jonathan whispered, "for reminding me what truly matters." Emma smiled, eyes sparkling with the promise of the future. "Thank you for showing me that even the smallest kindness can change a world." Together, they turned towards a horizon where the dawn painted the sky with hues of possibility and renewal. The story of a kind little schoolgirl and a homeless billionaire was no longer about endings, but beginnings of courage, compassion, and the unyielding power of human connection. Hello, family. Kindly share with us your thoughts, comments, or opinion. We'd be glad to hear from you on these stories. Thanks for watching Stories with Pablo. Please subscribe and leave us a like. It means a lot to us. You can also share this video with your friends and loved ones and turn on post notifications so you don't miss our future videos. Thank you for doing so.